Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Your GBP price analysis eases from 2-week-old resistance line towards 0.9000 http ntvforex.com news ID 9135 EC 3 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. Your GBP marks third failure to stay strong beyond 0.9050. Bullish MACD questions downside past 0.9000 whereas 0.9080 acts as additional upside barriers. Your GBP drops to 0.9040 while heading into Thursday's European session. In doing so, the Euro cross fails to keep the previous 2 days' upside momentum while taking a U-turn from a downward sloping trend line stretched from July 31st. Other than the trend line resistance, RSI conditions are also in favor of the sellers targeting the 0.9000 threshold. However, the paira's additional weakness will be questioned by bullish MACD and multiple supports around 0.8980, which if ignored could highlight the monthly low of 0.8969 as extra support. Meanwhile, an upside clearance of the said resistance line around 0.9055 will confront 0.9080 horizontal resistance, including multiple levels marked during late July. Should the bulls manage to cross 0.9080, July monthly's top of 0.9148 will become their favorite. Your GBP 4-hour chart trend pullback expected additional important levels overview today. Last price 0.904 today daily change 1 pips today daily change percent 0.01% today daily open 0.9041 nbsp trends daily SMA 20 0.9051 daily SMA 50 0.9023 daily SMA 100 0.8926 daily SMA 200 0.8749 nbsp levels previous daily high 0.9053 previous daily low 0.8989 previous weekly high 0.9059 previous weekly low 0.8982 previous monthly high 0.9148 previous monthly low 0.8938 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 0.9029 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 0.9014 daily pivot point S1 0.9003 daily pivot point S2 0.8964 daily pivot point S3 0.8939 daily pivot point R1 0.9066 daily pivot point R2 0.9092 daily pivot point R3 0.913 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Forex Today. Dollar retreats after auction, gold rising amid fiscal impasse. Focus on jobless claims. ntvforex.com news ID 89E99D 6 minutes ago by Yohai Elam. Here is what you need to know on Thursday, August 13. The US dollar is on the back foot after the large bond auction and as optimism prevails in markets despite the fiscal impasse in Washington. Sino-American tensions and a US-EU are ahead of weekly jobless claims. Investors are pushing bond yields down once again after a record $38 billion auction. In turn, the pendulum is swinging against the greenback after it rose earlier in the week. Another factor weighing on the world's reserve currency is market optimism about achieving a vaccine. The upbeat mood is diminishing demand for the safe haven dollar. The S&amp 500 index briefly topped the previous all-time high recorded in mid-February. Robust earnings from tech firms have underpinned the gains, in addition to hopes for a recovery. NBSP gold is holding onto its recovery, trading around $1,930. It shed $200 earlier in the week and is now rising with other assets. See NBSP Gold Price Analysis. $1,907 is the last straw for the XAU-USD bulls, a confluence detector. At the same time, Democrats and Republicans remain far apart on the next fiscal stimulus package, as described by both sides. The longer the impasse continues, the more significant the damage to the world's largest economy. NBSP officials at the Federal Reserve have urged lawmakers to act and provide support. The list includes Mary Daly, Robert Kaplan, and most vocally, Eric Rosengren, president of the Boston branch of the Federal Reserve, who said this is an appropriate time to take strong fiscal actions. After inflation figures beat estimates in July, the focus shifts to weekly jobless claims, which are projected to remain around 1.1 million. NBSP jobless claims preview. If higher claims are evidence of an economic slowdown or lower, a sign of an acceleration. The U.S. electoral campaign heats up after Democratic challenger Joe Biden made his first appearance with Senator Kamala Harris, his running mate. The highly regarded election forecast by 538 has been published and it shows Biden leading over President Donald Trump, albeit with a high level of uncertainty at this point. NBSP source 538 Sino-American tensions remain elevated ahead of a trade review by the world's largest economies. China aims to put America's sanctions on TikTok and WeChat on the table. Washington slapped tariffs Berlin and Paris, related to the long-running dispute around Airbus. NBSP AUD/USD is on the rise amid robust employment figures. Australia gained 114,700 jobs in July and the unemployment rate fell to 7.5%. NBSP NZD/USD is on the back foot after Young Ha, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's chief economist, said that his institution would like a weaker Kiwi. The nation reported 14 additional coronavirus cases, with Auckland, the largest city, remaining under lockdown. NBSP oil prices are holding on to high ground with WTI trading near $43. USD CAD is changing hands below 1.33. Cryptocurrencies have stabilized, with Bitcoin trading around $11,500. More NBSP traders are looking at the shiny thing and not the big picture. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. SP500 flirts with record highs. Gold rebounds analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID E49F5A813-2026 00:34 am. The downside correction in U.S. technology stocks did not last long. Nasdaq rebounded more than 2% on Wednesday, and the S&amp 500 1.40% traded above the all-time closing high, completing a full circle to return to its pre-COVID levels. NBSP Apple 3.32%, which announced a 4-to-1 split from September, is about to come under some pressure due to the USA attack on Chinese TikTok and WeChat for security reasons. If WeChat, China's most popular and most used messaging app, is removed from Apple's App Store, it would be almost impossible to sell iPhones in China, and the company's global shipments would drop by 25–30%, until the decision is reversed. NBSP stay on top of the markets with Swissquota's news amp analysis. NBSP The emerging tensions over TikTok and WeChat will be sitting on top of the priority list for the upcoming trade discussions between the US and China. The two countries are expected to review the Phase 1 trade deal, and we can already tell that the negotiations won't be smooth, and the existing deal could be at jeopardy. A further deterioration in the US-China trade relationship is an important downside risk to the global equities at the moment, but the price pullbacks will likely remain short-lived as stock investors continue relying on government and central bank support to keep the illusion alive. NBSP data-wise, the headline inflation in the US rose 0.6% MOM in July, more than expected. The 0.6% increase in core CPI was the fastest since 1991. Digging into these numbers, the surge in consumer prices came mostly from motor vehicle sales and apparels, which are volatile items. If filtered out, showed there has not been a material change in overall inflation levels. Food prices, on the other hand, came off slightly following a sharp rise during the pandemic. To us, there is nothing alarming in the latest inflation figures. NBSP Wada's more worrying is the army of 16 million jobless in the US, who are craving for the next fiscal stimulus package to pass as infection numbers continue surging. But talks haven a tea-borne fruit so far. Due today, the U.S. unemployment claims are expected to remain above the 1 million mark. NBSP elsewhere, the European July inflation figures are expected to print negative numbers in July despite business reopening and normalization. The Australian unemployment rate rose to 7.5% in July, the highest since November 1998, as the number of unemployed skyrocketed from 15.7k to above a million as the pandemic took a toll on the economic activity. The employment change has been better than expected, however, as 114.7k new jobs were added in July, versus 30k expected by analysts. The AUD remained bit above the 0.71 mark. NBSP While the global economic data is badly infected by the coronavirus pandemic, showing the worst numbers on record for growth and employment, the market reaction depends on the perspective investors look at it. As long as the data matches the expectations, it is assumed that the market prices already take the figures into account, no matter how bad they are. This is why we see the share prices climbing relentlessly. With of course the precious push from government and central bank stimuli. NBSP trading in Asia was mixed and the activity on European futures hint at a flat to negative open on Thursday. NBSP The US dollar halted its three-day rise as the US yields advanced to 0.66%. NBSP gold rebounded to $1,940 per ounce following a sharp fall to $1,862 on Wednesday. The rising U.S. inflation should overweigh the advance in U.S. yields and provide support to gold on a firmer basis, after a part of the speculative long positions were cleared at this week's downside correction. NBSP WTI crude tests the 200-day moving average $42.90 PB to the upside. The surprise 4.5 million barrel decline in U.S. oil inventories last week is supportive, but insufficient to whet the bull's appetite above this level. NBSP The Eurist is back above $1.18, and the pound remains bid above the $1.30 mark on broadly softer US dollar. There is a decent potential for a deeper downside correction on both pairs, but the short-term direction remains highly contingent on the US dollar appetite. Price advances could be interesting top-selling opportunities for traders betting on a further dollar correction in the coming days. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD turns south from 0.7190. Negative S&amp 500 futures way PNTVForex.com News ID 96E08E 2 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. AUD bulls struggle to extend the upside amid negative S&amp 500 futures. US dollar weakness amid fiscal impasse continues to offer support. Strong Australian jobs report defy Victorian virus concerns. AUD/USD is consolidating the Asian uptick to a two-day high of 0.7188 in early Europe. The bulls, however, appear to lack follow-through amid a cautious market mood. The spot gains 0.11% to trade at 0.7168, at the time of writing, maintaining its recovery mode from Wednesday's drop to 0.7110 troughs. The sentiment around the Aussie remains underpinned by upbeat Australian jobs data, with the economy witnessing jobs addition despite the lockdowns reimposed in Victoria amid the coronavirus resurgence. Moreover, broad-based US dollar weakness, induced by falling Treasury yields amid large auction and fiscal stimulus impasse, continues to benefit AUD/USD. Also, a lack of negative news on the US-China front helps keep the buoyant tone intact around the Chinese proxy, the AUD. However, the bulls seem to struggle to take on the upside, as the market mood has somewhat turned cautious, despite the vaccine hopes, reflective of the pullback in the S&amp 500 futures. S&amp 500 futures drop 0.20% to trade around 3,360. Attention now turns towards the U.S. weekly jobless claims data for fresh trading impetus. In the meantime, the US dollar price action and sentiment on the European equities will influence the pair. AUD-USD technical levels. The immediate upside will be tested at 0.7200 round figure. The next NBSP resistance NBSP is aligned at 0.7244 August 7th high. On the flip side, the immediate support is seen at 0.7150 psychological level, below which the 20 DMA at 0.7140 NBSP could be tested. AUD-USD additional levels. AUD-USD overview today. Last price 0.7166 today. Daily change 0.0003 today. Daily change percent 0.04 today. Daily open 0.7162 NBSP trends. Daily SMA 20 0.713 daily SMA 50 0.7007 daily SMA 100 0.6712 daily SMA 200 0.6709 NBSP levels. Previous daily high 0.7177 previous daily low 0.7108 previous weekly high 0.7244 previous weekly low 0.7076 previous monthly high 0.7228 previous monthly low 0.6876 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 0.7151 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 0.7135 daily pivot point S1 0.7121 daily pivot point S2 0.7081 daily pivot point S3 0.7053 daily pivot point R1 0.719 daily pivot point R2 0.7218 daily pivot point R3 0.7258 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Core bond slipped analysis http ntvforex.com news ID C1DC57813 2026 27:03 AM Markets risk on dominated yesterday. Markets continue to bank on the coronavirus to have run its course and/or on medical breakthroughs to counter the infectious disease. And even if their expectations are proven wrong, there is still the hoped for stimulus package in the US and other parts of the world should things go south again. Echo data US CPI, EMU industrial production had no significant impact. Equities rose about 1% in the EMU. US stocks rose up to more than 2%. Overcoming a brief moment of weakness after House Speaker Pelosi rebuffed Nukin's renewed push for the $1 relief package. The S&amp P500 inched closer to the pre-pandemic record high. Core bonds slipped. USD's slightly underperformed bonds despite a solid record-sized 10-year auction, drawing a yield lower than WI. The US yield curve bear steepened with yields advancing 2.3 bps 2-year to 4.5 bps 10-30-year. German yields rose 2.4 bps across the curve. FX markets staged the classic risk patterns with respect to the dollar. EUR-USD rose from 1.174 towards the 1.18 barrier but finished just below. In a similar move higher, USD-JPY sought to claim 107 but closed at 106.91 eventually. Sterling failed to profit from the constructive environment though. UK Chancellor Sunak sounded downbeat in a reaction to the historical Q2 GDP drop, tackling the pound. EUR GBP jumped to 0.904. Asian markets simply built on WSS performance yesterday. Most indices trade in positive territory with Japan 2% outperforming. Australia 0.9% is the exception to the rule despite a stronger than anticipated labour market report CF Infra. The Aussie dollar initially strengthened but is forfeiting gains at the time of writing. The Kiwi dollar eventually put aside a very dovish RBNZ yesterday but is trading heavy again this morning. The central bank's chief economist said the RBNZ would like to have a weaker FX rate and lower bond yields. NZD-USD trades around 0.656. The US dollar trades unconvincing. The current mood higher stocks but declining core bond yields isn't really helping the currency. EUR/USD is trying to settle above 1.18 while USD/JPY is drifting lower to the 106.7 area. We'll be keeping a close eye on US jobless claims today. With 1186K last week, the timely labor market indicator fell to a pandemic low. Consensus expects a further decline to 1100K. Markets would probably notice a significant negative surprise, but we deem the odds of it rather low. Continuous claims are expected at a still extremely elevated 15800K. The 30-year auction in the US is definitely worth following, but shouldn't be a huge problem given successful auctions earlier this week. Futures markets point at some minor equity profit taking, but we doubt it'll go very far and or last long. Core bonds are being picked up after hitting technical support. The dollar might thus remain in the defensive in a daily perspective. EUR 1.1823 US dollars resistance looks vulnerable. A series of US echo data including retail sales tomorrow might be important for the USD going forward. EUR GBP is going nowhere, facing a technical-driven trading day ahead near the 0.90 pivot. News nbsp headlines: Fed officials in a slew of speeches voiced concerns over the virus and its impact on the economy. Boston S. Rosengren said states shunning expert advice will likely prolong the downturn, adding that the recovery may be losing steam. His warning was later echoed by Fed's Kaplan. SF Fed Mary Daly foresees a second whammy, expecting a W-shaped recovery instead of a V. Australia's July labour market report came in stronger than expected. Australian job creation rose a strong 114.7k, beating estimates 30k and following an upwardly revised June 28.4k. Full-time employment 43.5k recovered for the first month since the pandemic. The unemployment rate ticked higher to 7.5%, up from 7.4% but less than expected, even as the participation rate 64.7%, up from 64.1%, rose more than consensus. Download the full Sunrise Market Commentary. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold bulls await a fresh impetus to revive the recovery momentum. ntvforex.com news ID D717582. 2 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. Gold XAU/USD staged a solid $90 rebound from its brutal sell-off to 3-week lows of $1,863.20 on Wednesday. The XAU bulls, however, faced stiff resistance near $1,950 levels and settled the day around $1,936. Overall, dollar weakness keeps the XAU bulls hopeful, with the reversal to be confirmed only above $1,960, and Forex's Dwani Mehta briefs. Key quotes: The yellow metal could continue to draw support from additional U.S. stimulus expectations, and Fed policymakers saw concerns over the economic recovery. Additionally, the sharp retreat in the U.S. Treasury yields could also bode well for the yieldless gold. Traders await the U.S. jobless claims data, with a likely drop in the claims seen boosting the U.S. stocks at the expense of the greenback. Therefore, the metal could keep its recovery mode intact from 3-week lows going forward. AA Gold is struggling to hold onto the 38.2% fib at $1,934, while the 50% fib lies at $1,960. Only a convincing break above the latter will confirm a bullish reversal from 3-week lows, opening doors for a test of the $2,000 mark. While the $1,907 New York low could guard the downside attempts, a break below which the critical support at $1,863 will get exposed again. That level is the potential rising channel trend line support nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Germania's span. The rise in cases is worrying, but health system can cope. ntvforex.com news ID 174D7C 6 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. Germania's Health Minister Jens Spahn said on Thursday, they are worried about the rise in the coronavirus cases but are confident about the health system. Additional comments: average age of infected persons in Germany is falling. There are a lot of new infections among younger people. Optimistic of coronavirus vaccine in the coming months. If not, there certainly will be a vaccine next year. The Robert Koch Institute RKI reported earlier today, the number of confirmed coronavirus cases rose by 1,445 in Germany on Thursday versus Wednesday's 1,226. nbsp EUR/USD extends gains beyond 1.1800 euros. USD has caught a fresh bid wave in early Europe, as the euro remains unperturbed by the renewed virus concerns. The strength in the major is mainly driven by the extension of the decline in the US dollar across its main competitors. At the press time, the spot trades at 1.1834, adding 0.44% on the day. nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD analysis. Bulls remain at the mercy of USD price dynamics analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 9A865B813 2026 32:26 AM. Renewed USD weakness outweighed UK GDP slump and assisted GBP USD to defend the 1.30 mark. Uncertainty over the next round of the US fiscal stimulus continued exerting pressure on the greenback. The GBP USD pair edged lower for the second consecutive session on Wednesday and dropped to over one-week lows, albeit managed to find decent support near the key 1.3000 psychological mark. A record drop in Britain's economic output during the second quarter of 2020 was outweighed by the emergence of some fresh selling around the US dollar, which was seen as a key factor lending some support to the major. The preliminary figures showed that the UK economy contracted by 20.4% in the second quarter of 2020 as compared to a 2.2% contraction recorded in the previous quarter. Two consecutive periods of contraction means that the British economy is now in a technical recession. Meanwhile, the monthly report showed that the economy recorded a stronger than expected growth of 8.7% in June as against consensus estimates pointing to a reading of 8%. On the other hand, the greenback struggled to capitalize on its recent recovery move amid the uncertainty over the next round of the U.S. fiscal stimulus measures. The U.S. lawmakers have been struggling to reach consensus over the latest COVID-19 stimulus package, and negotiations ended without a result for the fifth day. The USD failed to gain any respite following the release of hotter-than-expected U.S. consumer inflation figures for July. In fact, the headline CPI rose 0.6% during the reported month as compared to the 0.3% increase anticipated. Annually, the CPI accelerated back to 1.0% from the 0.6% previous. Meanwhile, core CPI picked up to 0.6% and 1.6% on a monthly and yearly basis, respectively, both beating expectations. A broad-based USD weakness assisted the pair to finally settle around 30 pips from daily swing lows and gain some traction during the Asian session on Thursday. A fresh leg down in the U.S. Treasury bond yields kept the USD bulls on the defensive and turned out to be one of the key factors lending some support to the major. The sterling got an additional boost after NBSP said that the UK economy is expected to grow around 15% in the third quarter of 2020. The pair was last seen trading around the 1.3075 region. In the absence of any major market-moving economic releases, the USD price dynamics will play a key role in influencing the pair's momentum on Thursday. Later during the early North American session, the release of the initial weekly jobless claims data from the US will also be looked upon to grab some meaningful trading opportunities. Short-term technical outlook. From a technical perspective, the pair has been oscillating well within a broader trading range since the beginning of this month. This makes it prudent to wait for a sustained move in either direction before positioning for the pair's near-term trajectory. In the meantime, any subsequent move beyond the 1.3100 mark might confront immediate resistance near the 1.3140 horizontal level, above which the pair is likely to aim to reclaim the 1.3200 round figure mark. On the flip side, the 1.3000 mark might continue to act as immediate support and is closely followed by monthly lows, around the 1.2970 area. A sustained break below will be seen as a fresh trigger for bearish traders and turn the pair vulnerable to accelerate the slide to the 1.2900 round figure mark. Some follow-through selling has the potential to drag the pair further towards June monthly swing highs resistance breakpoint, not turn support, around the 1.281510 region. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US dollar index drops to lows near 93.10, looks today. ntvforex.com news ID F3B1DC 2 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano DXY extends the leg lower to the 93.20 area on Thursday. US politics and the coronavirus aid bill remain in center stage. Weekly claims, export-import prices next on the calendar. The greenback is seeing its downside accelerated on Thursday and testing new 4-day lows in the 93.2015 band when gauged by the US dollar index DXY. US dollar index looks to data, politics. The index is down for the second session in a row in the second half of the week, trading in multi-day lows and approaching the oversold territory, as per the daily RSI. On the other hand, the upside in DXY remains well kept by the 94.00 neighborhood. In the meantime, US lawmakers remain unable to unlock the deal over another stimulus package, motivating political uncertainty to keep growing and weighing on the buck. The sell-off in the greenback comes despite July's higher-than-expected inflation figures tracked by the CPI and released on Wednesday nbsp and the recent ascent in yields of the 10-year benchmark to multi-week highs around 0.70%. Later in the NA session, the usual initial claims should grab all the attention, seconded in relevance by import-export prices. What to look for around USD? The index stays on the defensive after being rejected once again from the 94.00 region earlier in the week. Looking at the broader picture, investors remain bearish on the dollar against the usual backdrop of a dovish Fed, the unabated advance of the pandemic and somewhat diminishing momentum in the economic recovery, whereas persistent US-China effervescence appears on the supportive side of the greenback. On another front, the speculative community remained well into the negative territory for yet another week, supporting the view that a serious bearish trend could be shaping up around the dollar. US dollar index relevant levels at the moment: the index is losing 0.35% at 93.10 and faces the next support at 92.52. 2020 low August 6 seconded by 91.80 monthly low May 18 and finally 89.23 monthly low April 2018. On the upside, a break above 93.99 weekly high August 3 would aim for 94.20. 38.2% Fibo of the 2017-2018 drop and then 96.03 50% Fibo of the 2017-2018 drop. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD trades softer after 2 days of gains analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 6AFFD0813 2026 4642 AM. Euro USD pairing losses. Will January 2000 be the next target? The euro currency is trading somewhat stronger and is pairing losses from the past few days. However, prices will need to rise above 1.1876 to fully recover from the slump earlier. Right now, the currency pair is consolidation near the trend line and the horizontal support area around 1.1750. A breakout above the trend line could potentially cement the bullish continuation. To the downside, a close below 1.1750 could potentially raise the odds of a decline down to the 1.1600 handle. There is also a possible head and shoulders pattern that could emerge, with the neckline support around the 1.1750 area and 1.1713 level. NBSP GBP USD trading a tad weaker on GDP data. The British pound sterling continues to trade weaker with price briefly testing the lows, just a few pips above the 1.3000 level. Price action has now comfortably settled within 1.3122 and 1.3000. This means that a breakout from this range will set the course of direction for the trend. To the downside, the longer-term trend line could act as a dynamic support. But this comes around the 1.2900 level. To the upside, it is clear that a top has formed after bust failed to break out higher. The stochastics oscillator is positioned to the upside, which could signal a near-term move back to the 1.3122 level of resistance. With the weekly candlestick showing signs of a possible correction, the support level near 1.3000 gains even more importance. NBSP WTI crude oil holds above 42.00. Crude oil prices brushed aside a weak demand outlook as per the reports from the latest projections from OPEC. Oil prices are trading about 2% higher intraday. A strong close above the 42 level could strengthen the upside bias. This is also seen from the stochastics oscillator that could signal the move to the upside. The next key resistance level is near the 45.22 level. This gains prominence as oil prices fell below zero after giving up this level. Therefore, we could see prices struggling once again to break out above this region. This could mean that the 45A42 region might become the next corridor for oil prices to consolidate in. NBSP gold stabilizes near the 1900 level following the strong declines. The precious metal is stabilizing after falling to a 3-week low on Wednesday during the early Asian session. Price action is now somewhat strong, having established support near the 1900 region. To the upside, if the momentum holds up, we might as well see gold testing the 1967 resistance level. Only a breakout above here might bring back some bullish bets. As a result, we could expect the precious metal to pause and move into a sideways range in the near term. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold holding strong resistance at 1940-45 analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 529915 8/13/2026 44:18 am. Gold silver gold spot selling opportunity at strong resistance at 1940-45. Silver spot manages a recovery to strong resistance at 2630-40 amp, topped exactly here. NBSP daily analysis. Gold holding strong resistance at 1940-45, targets 1930 amp, minor support at 1915-12 hit. On further losses look for 1895.90, then the best buying opportunity of the day at 1865.55. Buy with stops below 1845. An unexpected break lower targets 1835.30. We topped exactly at strong resistance at 1940-45 yesterday. Sell here today. Shorts need stops above 1950. A break higher targets 1965.70. Silver topped exactly at strong resistance at 2630.40. Shorts need stops above 2670. A break higher targets strong resistance at 2710.20. Stop above 2740. Minor support at 2,500–2,490 but below here targets 2,425 with strong support at 2,400–2,390. Longs need stops below 2,350. If we continue lower, I'm expecting an excellent buying opportunity at 2,290–80, with stops below 2,260. Weekly outlook positive, daily outlook positive, short-term outlook neutral. NBSP chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Oil steady demand and less production point to upside ATDS. http ntvforex.com. News ID 881FF8 2 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. Bart Malek, head of commodity strategy at TD Securities, reviews the last oil inventory. Stock reduction along with demand recovery draws an optimistic outlook for the black gold. WTI, which trades at $42.66, 0.3% on a day, could test the recent highs at $45. Key quotes: A crude oil stocks once again plunged. A much larger than expected 4.5 million BBLs consensus was calling for a 2.2 million decline. Also on the bullish side, imports fell 389 kbd, with exports growing 324 kbd and production was down by a very large 300 kbd to just 10.7 million bd. Furthermore, product demand continued to increase, rising 1.457 million BDAA on balance. The report is modestly positive. With U.S. demand likely continuing to recover as the federal government adds another $1 trillion worth of stimulus as therapeutics and a vaccine for COVID-19 emerge and the rest of the world slowly opens up, crude oil demand should move on an upward trajectory into 2020. This, along with OPEC supply discipline and U.S. shale oil industry weakness, suggests that the existing inventory overhang should erode materially over the next 4 months and beyond. While WTI crude may test recent highs, moving toward resistance just under $45 BBL, it is unlikely to move into a significantly higher trading range anytime soon. There will continue to be demand risks due to COVID-19 and OPEC will likely match supply to growing demand. nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Cryptocurrency market news: Bitcoin stalls. DeFi craze spikes while Chainlink hits new all-time high. ntvforex.com. News ID 943AF6 1 minutes ago. Here is what you need to know on Thursday, August 13, 2020. Markets: the cryptocurrency market is a mixture of red and green. Bitcoin is leading the bearish gunga while some selected altcoins such as Cosmos, Chainlink, and Maker keep flying the bullish flag high above the crypto horizon. Bitcoin price recovered from the dip to $11,100 but bulls could not sustain gains above $11,600. In other words, the hurdle at $11,600 is still intact. On the other hand, BTC/USD has retested the support at $10,500 and is trading at $11,550. Ethereum is trading slightly in the green by 1.25% on the day. Like Bitcoin, the crypto asset recovered from the support at $370 but failed to maintain the momentum to break the barrier at $400. Currently, Ether is valued at $391 while containing the gains accrued in the last 24 hours above the short-term support at $390. Ripple managed to reclaim its third position from Tether USDT, the largest stablecoin in the industry. Recovery has not been substantial owing to the fact that the highest traded price level on the day is $0.2859. XRP/USD is slightly in the red while exchanging hands at $0.2822. The high volatility coupled with a bullish trend in the short term could easily pull XRP towards the hurdle at 30 cents. As aforementioned, some altcoins are soaring to new levels such as Chainlink, which hit a new all-time high $17 and made it to the fifth largest digital asset in the market. Other double-digit gainers in the last 24 hours include Tezos 12.74%, Cosmos 16.89%, IOTA 11.99%, Maker 13.98%, Algorand 27.88%, Band Protocol 19.39% and Swipe 30.56%. Chart of the day: http://ntvforex.com news ID 943AF64 US dollars. Our chart market Chainlink has surged massively this week to topple Bitcoin Cash from the fifth spot in the market. http://ntvforex.com news ID 943AF6 is the native token of the decentralized Oracle network, Chainlink. The crypto asset now has a market capitalization of $5.82 billion compared to Bitcoin Cash AS $5.32 billion. At the time of writing, http://ntvforex.com news ID 943AF6 is trading at $16.62 after a shallow retreat from the new all-time high at $17. http://ntvforex.com news ID 943AF6 has had an incredible year, rising from $1.80 to the current market price level. Crypto analysis platform, Messari attributes the surge to the growth of the DeFi ecosystem because Chainlink price feeds continue to play a key factor in the sector. Read more nbsp Chainlink price prediction http://ntvforex.com news ID 943AF6 USD clocks new all-time highs. Eyes glued on $20 industry. Decentralized finance DeFi has been an incredible run this year. The impact of the rally in the ecosystem continues to impact Ethereum in terms of increasing hash rate and gas fees. According to recent data by Glassnode, an on-chain analysis platform, Ethereum network hash rate has soared to break a 20-month high. The same metric is confirmed by Etherscan. The surge in the hash rate usually indicates a network's heat level. Traders are using the hash rate metric to gauge the potential of Ethereum extending the bullish momentum to higher levels. The increase in the use of DeFi projects is said to be impacting the Ethereum network, resulting in the high hash rate as the network clogs. Transaction costs, referred to as gas fees, have been surging too amid heightened activities in DeFi. The increase in gas fees has positively impacted miner revenues that have hit an all-time high according to researchers at Glassnode. Miner revenue from fees on Ethereum has skyrocketed in the past 2 months, reaching an all-time high of around 18% 30D moving average. Conversely, this has brought the fee ratio multiple FRM to lows never seen before on Ethereum. Created by Teo Leibowitz, the fee ratio multiple FRM is defined as the ratio between the total miner revenue and transaction fees. FRM indicates how secure a chain is once block rewards disappear. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY shorts at 107.0020, target 106.6050. Analysis http://ntvforex.com news ID CFD 44681320265857 AM. USD JPY EUR JPY USD JP bottomed exactly at first support at 105.7060. AMP topped exactly at our selling opportunity at 107.0020. We have another 40 pips profit offered on the short as I write. EUR JP beat first resistance at 125.5060 to target strong resistance at 125.95 126.05 where we are short. We overran but just 15 pips. NBSP daily analysis USD JP shorts at 107.0020, target 106.6050 hit this morning, perhaps as far as a buying opportunity at 106.1505, with stops below 105.80. Sell at 107.0020 with a potential high for the week, stops above 107.30. A break higher however targets 107.6070 amp, strong resistance at 108.0010. Euro JP meets strong resistance at 125.95 126.05. Shorts need stops above 126.20. A break higher targets 126.7080. Shorts at 125.95 126.05, target 125.6050, perhaps as far as strong support at 125.00 124.90. Try longs with stops below 124.80. NBSP trends, weekly outlook neutral, daily outlook neutral, short-term outlook neutral. NBSP chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Europe points lower despite strong session on Wall Street analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 35387813 2026 am. Despite the S&amp reaching an all-time high and the Dow and Nasdaq closing in positive territory, the upbeat mood has not transferred into Europe. European bourses are looking towards a softer start, with the DAX set to outperform its peers whilst the FTSE prepares to lag after a stellar previous session. The FTSE surged 2% on Wednesday on stimulus hopes after data revealed that the UK economy experienced its deepest contraction since records began. Optimism surrounding vaccines, infections plateauing, and encouraging US inflation data reinforced confidence in the broader markets, resulting in bourses across the board booking a positive finish. NBSP inflation US vs Germany data-wise, US inflation saw a better than forecast 0.6% MOM increase in July. Core CPI was also 0.6% in its largest increase since 1991. Delving deeper into these figures, the jump in inflation was primarily down to motor vehicles and apparels, whilst food prices eased after climbing during the pandemic. This level of inflation is unlikely to be sustained, but it certainly can't be ignored as it points to an encouraging recovery. The strong jump in US inflation is in sharp contrast to German inflation data. Germany experienced deflation as prices declined 0.5% MOM in July and fell 0.1% on an annual basis. Looking ahead, US initial jobless claims will be in focus. Expectations are for 1.12 million Americans to have signed up for unemployment benefits. This is only down marginally from last week's 1.18 million. As the recovery in the U.S. labor market appears to be stalling. NBSP still no sign of U.S. stimulus. Perhaps more concerning are the 16 million jobless Americans who are longing for the next stimulus package to be passed in Congress as the stalemate continues between the Democrats and Republicans. Failure for a deal to be reached could undermine the U.S. economic recovery. Whilst the two sides are expected to eventually cross the line, timing is everything. The longer it takes, the more damage to the economy. The US dollar is back under pressure after 2 straight days of gains. NBSP oil eases after rallying 2.5% in the previous session and hitting a 5-month high. The price of oil is easing on Thursday, although it is still managing to hold onto the lion's share of yesterday's gains. Data this week has shown that oil inventories are falling. Additionally, US fuel demand data is also rising, hitting the highest level since March. The figures support the view that fuel demand is returning despite the ongoing pandemic. With supply and demand fundamentals offering support, the price of oil could start gaining altitude if the markets start to expect a shortage in oil in the coming quarters. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. U.S. Inflation Comforts Markets Analysis http://ntvforex.com News ID B3E8DC813-2026 55:42 AM The Buy Everything trade returned with a vengeance overnight, green light by higher than expected U.S. inflation and core inflation. Both the month-on-month and year-on-year metrics outperformed with the YoY core inflation, notably, rising 1.60%, well above the 1.10% expected. Wall Street rallied strongly, with the S&amp 500 flirting with all-time highs, the US dollar fell, and precious metals staged an impressive comeback from their capitulation sell-off the day before. Digging into the numbers, healthcare, food, and housing have unsurprisingly risen. Energy, meanwhile, has fallen massively on a YoY basis, reflecting the collapse in oil prices. The dataset mostly reflects the rebound in consumer spending that has been telegraphed by other data from June to July. More consumers spend, prices go up, Economics 101. NBSP The inflationists should probably get back in their boxes for now. The overnight continuation of the buy everything trade was due to a sigh of relief that the US isn't facing deflationary pressures, and not because a quantitative easing led, hyperinflation rider of the apocalypse appearing on the horizon. The U.S. Treasury sold $38 billion of 10-year notes overnight with a strong bid-to-cover ratio. If inflation were really an issue, that would not have happened. Still, the fact that the U.S. is not heading down the Japanification road, is as good a reason to buy anything that moves as any. Australian employment data also outperformed this morning. Both full-time and part-time jobs rose above expectations, although the unemployment rate remained stubbornly high at 7.50%. The data follows an even more impressive rise in the June data. Again, before everyone gets excited and starts mumbling V-shape under their breath, a dose of reality. The June and July data likely reflects the easily gained peace dividend of Australia reopening after earlier national COVID-19 lockdowns. Equally impressive gains will be much harder to come by in the months ahead. nbsp New Zealand is in the spotlight this morning and rightly so. More community cases of COVID-19 in Auckland have been recorded. Auckland is in partial lockdown to control the outbreak. The government has already telegraphed that new cases reported outside of Auckland will result in a return to national movement restrictions. That is likely to weigh on New Zealand equities and the currency today, with New Zealand's tentative recovery in grave peril should the worst occur. Europe publishes inflation data from across the continent today, and it will be interesting to see if the rises of last month are reflected in today's data. Again, the increases seen previously likely reflect the reopening of economies across the Eurozone, and the subsequent upswing in spending on goods and services. Sagging data may lead to pressure on the euro, implying as it does, a swift return to near deflationary business as usual that has bedeviled the Eurozone over the past years. U.S. weekly jobless data will be the center of attention this evening. Markets are pricing in initial jobless claims, and continuing claims to remain stuck at 1.2 million and 16 million respectively. President Trump's cobbled together pay cut stimulus follow-up, while better than nothing, will have no noticeable impact this week. That said, given the market's buy every mood, a fall in the headline numbers is likely to more FOMO momentum. Perhaps Tesla will have another daily 14.0% rise in its share price. nbsp Asian equity markets are sluggish. Asia is reluctant to fully buy into the surge seen on Wall Street overnight, as the S&amp 500 rose 1.40%, the Nasdaq jumped 2.13%, and the Dow Jones rose 1.03%. Only Japan and South Korea have leapt aboard the Wall Street rally, the Nikkei 225 climbing 1.0%, and the Kospi rising 0.80%. Perhaps with one eye on the upcoming US and China trade deal meeting, mainland stocks markets are quiet, with both the Shanghai Composite and CSI 300 flat for the session. Both indices are lying in the exact middle of their 6-week ranges. After rallying initially on encouraging statements from Tencent, Hong Kong's Hang Seng has eased by 0.70%, having failed to test its 200-day moving average DMA at 25,660. Regionally, Singapore has climbed 1.30% today, with Kuala Lumpur 0.85% higher. Weak earnings data from Australia, though, see the ASX 200 down 0.90%, and the All Ordinaries falling 0.60%. New Zealand has recovered some of yesterday's losses, rising 0.30%. The mixed picture in Asia appears to be reflecting an emphasis on regional issues, as opposed to universally slavishly following Wall Street. Asian investors may well be placing more emphasis on the importance of the US weekly employment data, than the overnight inflation data. Europe, though, I would expect to open higher following Wall Street's strong performance overnight. NBSP. The US dollar retreats after US inflation data. The US dollar gave back all its initial gains yesterday, finishing the day lower after a reliable US bond auction and higher inflation renewed confidence that the recovery remains on track. That spurred a restart of the Great Rotation, with the dollar index failing ahead of 94.00 and falling 0.25% to 93.42. Elsewhere amongst the major currencies, it was much the same story. The Euro, GBP, CHF, AUD, and CAD all were recording modest gains versus the greenback. Taking a step back, most of the G10 now appear to be stuck in range trading mode. Euro USD at 1.1810 has merely moved to the middle of its weekly range. It is much the same story for GBP USD, which is at 1.3055 today. Either January 1940 or 1.3200 would have to break on the upside to signal that a new US dollar retreat has started. NBSP major currencies look set to continue moving noisily within the August ranges for the remainder of the week, with the next big move on the US dollar still to be unveiled. Unfortunately, that means intraday trading will likely be dominated by the intraday FOMO brigade, with investors looking for facts to explain the moves. Unless the US employment data surprises, one way or the other, there is a strong case for moving to the sidelines for now. NBSP US inventory falls push oil higher. US official crude inventories fell by 4.5 million barrels overnight and have now fallen by over 22 million barrels over the past few weeks. Distillate and gasoline stocks also fell, implying that economic activity in the US remains on a growth path. However, one could argue that declining US domestic production is the underlying culprit. The data was enough to spark some life into slumbering oil contracts. Brent crude rose 1.85% to $45.30 a barrel, and WTI rose 2.15% to $42.55 a barrel. As the dust settles though, I note that both contracts remain enclosed in their one-month ranges, albeit now at the top end of them. A decent fall in weekly initial and weekly claims this evening could be the trigger. Oil needs to retest its one-month highs. After seeing some initial profit-taking sellers, oil in Asian trading has returned to unchanged levels from the New York close. Likely though, the rallies on both will fade from these levels, as they have in previous weeks. Brent crude has resistance at $45.85 and then $46.25 a barrel, with initial support at $44.30 a barrel. WTI is testing its 200 DMA this morning at $42.30, which form intraday support. A daily close above would be a bullish technical indicator. Resistance is nearby at $42.80 and then $43.50 a barrel. NBSP gold clings on after a roller coaster overnight session. Nobody can complain about a lack of volatility on precious metals at the moment. Yesterday's session provided a roller coaster session for traders that wouldn't look out of place at a theme park. After opening at $1,912 an ounce, gold plunged to $1,863 an ounce in Asia before rallying as high as $1,949 an ounce. Unbelievably, after such a volatile session, gold recorded a headline of just 0.25% for the day, closing at $1,916 an ounce. Gold in Asia if 0.60% higher at $1,928 an ounce, having traded as high as $1,949.50 an ounce. Asian investors seem keen to buy the dip but are not prepared to chase the market higher. NBSP. A weaker US dollar undoubtedly helped God of its knees yesterday, although I note that gold's rally was already well established during the Asian session. If nothing else, gold's price action highlights two things to me. Intraday prices movements are dominated by very non-sticky fast money traders in a low liquidity environment. Secondly, longer-term investors appeared in force as gold fell towards $1,850 an ounce and appear to be happy to pick up more on dips in Asia today. What they are not doing is chasing gold mindlessly higher. NBSP. The latter is a sound strategy, the former is for the brave and fast only. Gold has support at $1,913 initially, followed by yesterday's low around $1,863 an ounce. In this environment, it certainly has the capacity to retest that low, perhaps even as far as $1,830 an ounce. Initial resistance is at $1,949 an ounce, yesterday's highs, followed closely by $1,960 an ounce. NBSP. The volatility in recent days has extended ranges massively, and consequently left lots of clear air between technical support and resistance levels. Volatility will continue. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Intraday news and views and data to be released today. EUR/USD analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 313098132026 4710 AM. Intraday market moving news and views. EUR 1.1808 US dollars. Although the single currency dropped to session lows at 1.1712 in Asia, price erased its losses and rallied to 1.1778 in European morning, then higher to 1.1816 in New York morning on USD's broad-based weakness together with cross-buying in euro, especially vs sterling. The pair then retreated to 1.1781 in Australia today. However, renewed buying there lifted the pair to 1.1816 again in Asia today. Euro's rally from 1.1712 to 1.1816 yesterday suggests decline from last Thursday's fresh two-year peak at January 1915 has made a temporary low there, and consolidation with upside bias remains for gain to 1.184050. Bids are now seen at 1.177080 and more below at 1.175060, with stops building up below there whilst initial offers are noted at 1.187080. Thursday data releases: New Zealand Food Price Index, UK RICS Housing Survey, Japan Corporate Goods Price, Machine Tool Orders, Australia Employment Change, Unemployment Rate. France ILO Unemployment Rate, Germany CPI, HICP, Wholesale Price Index. U.S. Import Prices, Export Prices, Initial Jobless Claims, Continued Jobless Claims. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. WTI crude holding 4,170.50 on the downside. Analysis http ntvforex.com. News ID 881,823 8/13/2027 10:11 AM. WTI crude September future resumes the sideways range this week as expected, holding 4,170.50 on the downside to target 4,240.60 before a retest of 4,290. We topped exactly here. Trade the levels in the sideways trend. NBSP daily analysis: WTI crude holding 4,170.50 on the downside to target 4,240.60 before a retest of 4,290. If we continue higher, look for 4,240.60 before a retest of 4,290. Unlikely, but a break above 4,300 retests 4,340.50. Further gains meet strong 200-day moving average resistance at 4,380 4,400. Gains are likely to be limited in the sideways trend, so watch for a reversal from 4,260.90, targeting first support at 4,170.50. A break lower meets a buying opportunity at 4,135 4,115 with stops below 4,080. A break lower is a sell signal targeting 4,035.25, 3,980.70 amp 3,935.25, perhaps as far as 3,880.70. Trends: NBSP weekly outlook, positive daily outlook, neutral short-term outlook, neutral nbsp chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Bangsico preview policy rate at 3.5% and USD MXN at 24 by year-end. A Rabobank ntvforex.com news ID B97007. 2 minutes ago by NTV Forex team, economists at Rabobank expect Bangsico to cut the policy rate 50 BP to 4.50% on August 13. They expect USD to find support in the coming months, which should boost USD MXN, but expect the peso to outperform the rest of the region into year-end. NBSP key quotes: A. We expect Bangsico to cut the policy rate 50 BP to 4.50%. Of the 23 analysts surveyed by Bloomberg, 21 are expecting a 50 BP move, including ourselves, and 2 are calling for a 25 BP cut. We expect at least 100 BP of additional rate cuts in Mexico this year, with significant risk of 150 BP, and this leaves us as an outlier on the dovish side. Despite this, and a weak US and domestic activity outlook, we expect MXN to outperform most of its LATAM peer, but we expect depreciation against USD, driving the USD MXN pair up to 24 before the end of the year. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY remains depressed near 106.7075 area, below 3-week tops set on Wednesday. ntvforex.com news ID 3A69B7. 2 minutes ago by Haresh Menghani. USD JPY edged lower on Thursday, snapping 4 consecutive days of the losing streak. The impasse over the U.S. fiscal stimulus measures continued, undermining the greenback. The prevalent cautious mood benefited the safe haven JPY and added to the selling bias. The USD-JPY pair maintained its offered tone through the first half of the trading action on Thursday and was last seen hovering near daily lows, just above mid-106.00s. The pair struggled to capitalize on its recent recovery move from 5-month lows, instead faced rejection near the 107.00 mark and for now, seems to have snapped 4 consecutive days of the winning streak. The downtick was sponsored by a combination of factors: a sustained US dollar selling bias, a fresh leg down in the US Treasury bond yields, and a modest pullback in the US equity futures. The USD remained depressed in the wake of the political deadlock over additional stimulus measures to support the economic recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. Bearish traders further took cues from a fresh leg down in the U.S. Treasury bond yields and the prevalent cautious mood, which underpinned the safe haven Japanese yen and contributed to the USD-JPY pair's modest pullback on Thursday. Despite little sign of progress in talks, investors seemed convinced that the U.S. lawmakers will eventually reach a consensus on the stimulus measures. This, in turn, held traders from placing any aggressive bearish bets and might help limit deeper losses for the USD-JPY pair ahead of a crucial weekend meeting between the US and Chinese trade officials. Hence, it will be prudent to wait for some strong follow-through selling before confirming that the recent positive move might have already run out of the steam and positioning for any further near-term depreciating move. In the meantime, Thursday's release of the U.S. initial weekly jobless claims will influence the USD price dynamics and produce some short-term trading opportunities later during the early North American session. Technical levels to watch: USD JPY overview today, last price 106.69 today, daily change 0.22 today, daily change percent 0.21 today, daily open 106.91 nbsp trends, daily SMA 20 106.13 daily SMA 50 106.9 daily SMA 100 107.26 daily SMA 200 108.15 nbsp levels. Previous daily high 107.02, previous daily low 106.44, previous weekly high 106.47, previous weekly low 105.3, previous monthly high 108.16, previous monthly low 104.19, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 106.8 daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 106.66 daily pivot point S1 106.57 daily. Pivot point S2 106.22 daily, pivot point S3 105.99 daily, pivot point R1 107.14 daily, pivot point R2 107.36 daily, pivot point R3 107.71 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. WTI remains pressured around $42.50 amid bearish OPEC report. ntvforex.com news ID 62AB553. 3 minutes ago Bidwani made a bearish OPEC report negates optimism over U.S. crude stocks draw. Uncertainty over U.S. fiscal stimulus impasse dense mood. USA's downside likely cushioned by dollar weakness. Having faced rejection just shy of the 43 mark, WTI futures on NYMEX turned lower to mid-42s, as the bears fought back control amid downbeat OPEC's oil demand forecasts. nbsp in its monthly oil market report, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries OPEC said that the 2020 global oil demand is likely to fall by 9.06 million barrels per day BPD versus the expectations of 8.95 million BPD. Further, tepid risk tone amid growing uncertainty over the timing of the U.S. fiscal stimulus, which is essential to stimulate the economic recovery in the world's largest economy, continues to weigh on the higher-yielding black gold. However, the persistent U.S. dollar weakness, amid large bond auction-led lower Treasury yields, offers some support to the USD-sensitive oil. A weaker greenback makes the dollar-denominated oil cheaper for foreign buyers. WTI bulls also benefit from the weekly U.S. crude stocks drawdown, as reported by the Energy Information Administration (EIA) on Wednesday. U.S. crude inventories fell by 4.5 million barrels versus expectations for a 2.9 million barrel drop. The focus now shifts towards the sentiment on the global markets and dollar trades for the next direction on the prices. WTI technical levels: if at all the buyers manage to cross $43.25, the monthly high near $43.65 and February month's low near $44 will act as additional resistances for them to confront. Alternatively, $42.30 and the channel's support line near $41.90 precede a 200 HMA level of $41.81 to challenge the commodity bears, and Forex analyst, Anil Panchal, explained. WTI additional levels to watch: WTI overview today, last price 42.52 today, daily change 0.07 today, daily change percent 0.16 today, daily open 42.8 nbsp trends, daily SMA 20 41.47 daily SMA 50 40.15 daily SMA 100 33.35 daily SMA 200 43.11 nbsp levels. Previous daily high 43.1 41.13 previous daily low 41.76 previous weekly high 43.62 previous weekly low 39.75 previous monthly high 42.52 previous monthly low 38.73 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 42.6 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 42.28 daily pivot point S1 41.99 daily pivot point S2 41.19 daily pivot point S3 40.62 daily pivot point R1 43.36 daily pivot point R2 43.93 daily pivot point R3 44.73 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. M&I Dow Jones bottomed exactly at strong support at 27,570 550 analysis http ntvforex.com news ID DB7B30813 2027 16:49 am M&I Dow Jones A Nasdaq M&I Dow Jones September futures rocket to just 30 ticks from the next target of 28,100 130 amp bottomed exactly at strong support at 27,570 550. Nasdaq we wrote I think we need a period of consolidation amp I think we will trade sideways this week. Will be better for our scalpers. We are trading sideways as predicted this week as we recover all of Tuesday's losses. NBSP daily analysis M&I Dow Jones bottomed exactly at strong support at 27,570 550 amp longs worked perfectly on the bounce to the 27,920 950 target. In fact we topped exactly here. Try longs again at strong support at 27,570 550, with stops below 27,500. A break lower targets 27,260 220. On further losses look for strong support at 27,970. Longs at 27,570 550 target 27,750 perhaps as far American Samoa 27,920 950. A break above 28,100 130 targets 28,300 350 amp 28,500 550. Nasdaq longs at 10,830 800 target 10,900 920 then 10,980 900 amp selling opportunity at 11,040 080 but unfortunately we were stopped above 11,140 before turning lower. So holding below 11,000 is more negative for today targeting 10,920 900, perhaps as far as a buying opportunity at 10,830 800. Stop below 10,750. A break lower is a sell signal targeting 10,700 670. On further losses look for strong support at 10,600 550. Holding above 11,100 is more positive for today allowing a recovery to 11,150 170 amp above 11,200 we can retest the all-time high at 11,275 285. Trends NBSP weekly outlook positive daily outlook positive short-term outlook neutral NBSP chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Reasons for NZD weakness analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 7B5DB4813 2027 14:24 am trade the strong against the weak. One of the key trading principles to really embrace in the FX world is that of pairing strength against weakness. So, yesterday we had a good example of putting this into practice via a central bank policy decision. This was the decision by the RBNZ. Going into the RBNZ interest rate decision, you may ask yourself what to do before the RBNZ rate meeting. The answer is simple: you are going to wait. Waiting for the central bank to show its hand. The RBNZ has now done that, and that is what gives us a bearish bias. Yesterday, after the decision, we posted this outlook. NBSP reasons for NZD weakness. The RBNZ launched a set of very bearish policies extending its asset purchases program. They increased their quantitative easing LSAP program to $100 BN from $60 BLN. Prior to this meeting, there were no expectations of an extension in their bond purchases. Furthermore, they extended the length of the program from 12 to 22 months. To top off the bearish outlook, the RBNZ then expressed a preference for a lower or negative official cash rate as well as a funding for lending program. An extremely bearish position. So, we now have a short to medium term NZD weak bias. Look to pair it with currencies as they show strength. NBSP learn more about HYCM NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. S&amp hits profit taking at the all-time high at 3,388.98. Analysis http ntvforex.com. News ID B4314981320272233 AM MNISP 500A Nasdaq MNISAMP September futures holds just below the all-time high at 3,388.98. AMP hits profit taking. Obviously this is key to direction with significant double top risks. Nasdaq we wrote I think we need a period of consolidation. AMP I think we will trade sideways this week. Will be better for our scalpers. We are trading sideways as predicted this week as we recover all of Tuesday's losses. NBSP daily analysis. MNISAMP hits profit taking at the all-time high at 3,388.98. Minor support at 3,355.50 but below 3,045. Retargets strong support at 3,325.20. Longs need stops below 3,310. A break lower is a sell signal targeting 3,290, perhaps as far as 3,275.70 with a buying opportunity at 3,255.50 with stops below 3,245. Obviously a break above 3,400 is a buy signal this week despite overbought conditions. Initially we target 3,406.08 AMP 3,415.17. Nasdaq longs at 10,830-800 target 10,900-920 then 10,980-900 AMP selling opportunity at 11,040-080 but unfortunately we were stopped above 11,140 before turning lower. So holding below 11,000 is more negative for today, targeting 10,920-900, perhaps as far as a buying opportunity at 10,830-800. Stop below 10,750. A break lower is a sell signal targeting 10,700-670. On further losses look for strong support at 10,600-550. Holding above 11,100 is more positive for today, allowing a recovery to 11,150-170 AMP above 11,200 we can retest the all-time high at 11,275-285. Trends NBSP weekly outlook positive, daily outlook positive, short-term outlook positive. NBSP chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Euro USD shorts first resistance at 1.1800 1.1820 analysis http ntvforex.com news ID ED 382581322027 am Euro USD CAD Eurist shorts at first resistance at 1.1800 1.1820 worked perfectly targeting 1.176050 amp 1.173020 for a potential 70-80 pip profit this week. USD CAD we were short at the selling opportunity at 1.334050 amp. This trade worked perfectly as we collapsed to 1.325040. In fact almost as far as 1.321000. NBSP daily analysis Eurist shorts first resistance at 1.1800 1.1820 targets 1.176050, 1.173020 hit amp held this morning, perhaps as far as 1.1700 1.1680. On further losses expect good support at 1.162010. Longs need stops below 1.1590. Sell at first resistance at 1.178090 with stops above 1.1820. On a break higher we could retest strong resistance at January 1905-15. USD CAD shorts at 1.334050 worked perfectly as we hit targets of 1.330090, 1.327065 amp 1.325040. On further losses look for 1.321000. A test of strong support at 1.318070 is certainly possible. Sell again on any bounce to 1.333040 with stops above 1.3370. A break higher targets 1.340010. NBSP trends weekly outlook neutral daily outlook neutral short-term outlook neutral NBSP chart. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD to attempt another test of 0.7245 Westpac ntvforex.com news ID C859635 minutes ago by NTV Forex team resilience of industrial commodities and RBA reluctance to highlight new policy options plus underlying USD softness suggest a retest of tricky 0.724045 area for the Aussie, per Westpac. Key quotes: A risk appetite has held firm through many weeks of lousy US COVID-19 data which only seem to reaffirm expectations of yet more Fed loosening, keeping equity portfolio weightings elevated. This should remain the case in the week ahead. NBSP. The domestic mood continues to cool, with Australia's whole eastern seaboard rattled by Victoria's lockdown judging by the OG Consumer Sentiment Survey. It is yet to have much impact on national employment, with July showing a firmer than expected 115k jump in jobs. NBSP RBA Gov low should be pressed on the faltering Q3 growth story, but last week S&amp stuck to an upbeat 2021 outlook, so no hints of policy loosening are likely. Along with iron ore GT $120 T, AUD/USD should find buyers on DIPs to 0.710020 and have another go at breaking 0.7245 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. S&amp 500 near record high. Global stock market joins rally analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 61FA998132027 2 am Global stock market today. The global stock market had a mixed session today. Stocks jumped higher in China. The stock rally pushed the Shanghai index higher by 0.47%. The Japanese stock index, Nikkei, advanced 1.85% while the Aussie stock index, ASX 200, dropped by 0.86%. The SHI stock index fell by 0.25%. nbsp Dow Index and S&amp 500 Index market breadth. The U.S. stock market's breadth provides further evidence of bull strength. 63% of the Dow stocks traded above their 200-day moving average on Friday. nbsp The S&amp 500 stocks also echo the same message for the coronavirus stock market rally. 60% of the shares traded above their 200-day moving average on Friday. nbsp Dow Jones and S&amp 500 futures. Today the Dow Jones futures are trading with caution and are down by 50 points. nbsp stock traders continue to keep a close eye on the upcoming U.S. initial jobless claims data, the biggest economic event of the day. nbsp The Dow Jones Industrial Average Futures has started the week on the front foot. ODA's price action is already beyond the previous day's high. It seems that the Dow stocks have a backing from the bulls as prices trading above the 50, 100, and 200-day SMA on a daily time frame. The 50-day SMA of the Dow Jones continue to trade above the 100-day SMA, a true bull signal. The Dow Jones's daily chart shows that yesterday's price action was within the trading range of the day prior to that. nbsp The Dow is trading above its 50, 100, and 200-day simple moving average on a daily time frame, and this confirms bull strength. The next important resistance level for the Dow remains the all-time high. The S&amp 500 index is sitting near all-time high. If logger stocks do not pick up steam, it is likely that the S&amp 500 index may end up forming a double top and may face intense selling pressure. From a technical price analysis perspective, the S&amp 500 is nbsp trading well above the 50-day simple moving average, and this means retracement could happen. The biggest bull signal comes from the fact the 100-day SMA has crossed above the 200-day SMA. nbsp stock market rally. nbsp The S&amp 500 index rose above its record level before it's closed with some retracement from its record highs. The S&amp 500 had one of its biggest roller coaster ride in the last 175 days because first the S&amp 500 stocks crashed from their record highs to coronavirus stock market low and then recovered all of their losses. This is the fastest rebound for the S&amp 500 index. The S&amp 500 nbsp index with a gain of 1.40% yesterday. Tech sector led the gains for the S&amp 500 stocks, and 10 out of 11 sectors closed in positive territory. AMD stock had the most gains for the index, it was up 7.45%. FLIR was the biggest drag, it declined 4.67%. The S&amp 500 stock index is 1.24% below its 52 weeks high. The Dow index soared 289 points and the Dow stocks pushed the index higher by 1.05%. 22 stocks of the Dow Jones Index increased in value, and 8 shares of the Dow Index declined. Apple stock jumped the most and increased in value 3.23%. Boeing stock remained the biggest decliner, it fell by 2.6%. nbsp The Nasdaq Composite, a tech-savvy index, nbsp gained another 281 points yesterday. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD forecast bond auction over. Bulls are back in full force and may extend gains. Analysis http://ntvforex.com. News ID 0BFF5F8132027 26:57 AM. EUR/USD is rising as the dollar retreats alongside yields after the U.S. bond auction. Washington's fiscal impasse, vaccine hopes, and jobless claims are in play. Thursday's 4-hour chart is showing that bulls are in control. Buy low, sell high. That ancient logic seemed to work in bond markets, this time with a substantial impact on the dollar. Investors sold off U.S. Treasuries ahead of the massive $38 billion auctions NBSP on Wednesday, pushing bond yields higher and boosting the dollar. Once Uncle Sam issued that debt at a relatively high yield, traders piled into bonds, pushing yields lower and taking the air out of the dollar. NBSP moving away from that auction. There are other reasons to see EUR/USD gaining ground. First, the US coronavirus situation is better than it used to be but is improving at a snail's pace. The old continent A, despite an upswing in infections, A is better positioned. NBSP source FT. More importantly, the burning issue in Washington is the impasse on Capitol Hill. A, Democrats and Republicans are still far apart on reaching an accord on the next fiscal relief package. Federal Reserve officials have been urging lawmakers to act, raising their rhetoric. NBSP Mary Daly, president of the San Francisco branch of the Federal Reserve, said that there is little evidence to support the claim that high unemployment benefits discourage seeking work in a deep recession. Eric Rosengren, her colleague from the Boston Fed, said that the U.S. failure to control the virus is hindering the recovery and that temporary job losses could turn permanent. NBSP. Despite concerns about the U.S. economy, investors are optimistic about a vaccine, as efforts are accelerating, especially after Russia's controversial announcement about developing immunization. The S&amp 500 briefly hit a new high on Wednesday, and the risk-on mood is pushing the safe haven dollar down. Later in the day, weekly jobless claims will provide an updated view of the U.S. economy. Applications dropped sharply last week after several weeks of worries. Another upbeat figure could help the greenback recover, but nothing is certain. See NBSP jobless claims preview. Lower claims sign of an economic acceleration. All in all, the deck is stacked against the dollar and in favor of the euro, at least for now. EUR/USD technical analysis. Euro/dollar has recaptured the 50 simple moving average on the 4-hour chart and momentum turned positive. Moreover, the world's most popular currency pair bottomed out above the 1.17 level, setting a higher low. The relative strength index remains below 70, thus outside overbought conditions. All in all, bulls are in control. Resistance awaits at 1.1850, which provided support last week, and then by January 1915, the 2-year high set around the same time. The next level is the psychologically critical 1.20. Support awaits at 1.1805, which capped EUR/USD earlier in the week. Further down, 1.1750 and the 1.17 level mentioned earlier await EUR/USD. More NBSP traders are looking at the shiny thing and not the big picture. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD bulls are back in full force at ntvforex.com. News ID 1AF0431 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. EUR/USD is trading in the green above 1.18 as Thursday's 4-hour chart is showing that bulls are in control. Yohai Elam, an analyst at NTV Forex, notes that the pair set a higher low as rebounded above the 1.17 level and now faces resistance at 1.1850. Key quotes: EUR/USD has recaptured the 50 simple moving average on the 4-hour chart and momentum turned positive. Moreover, the world's most popular currency pair bottomed out above the 1.17 level, setting a higher low. The relative strength index remains below 70, thus outside overbought conditions. A resistance awaits at 1.1850, which provided support last week, and then by January 1915, the 2-year high set around the same time. The next level is the psychologically critical 1.20. Support awaits at 1.1805, which capped EUR/USD earlier in the week. Further down, 1.1750 and the 1.17 level mentioned earlier await EUR/USD. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Euro USD Intraday Watch 1.1850 Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID A341BF 8/13/2027 AM Euro USD Watch 1.1850 nbsp Stay on top of the markets with Swiss Quotia S News AMP Analysis nbsp Pivot Invalidation 1.1775 Our preference long positions above 1.1775 with targets at 1.1835 AM 1.1850 in extension. Alternative scenario below 1.1775 Look for further downside with 1.1760 AMP 1.1740 as targets. Comment technically the RSI is above its neutrality area at 50. NBSP GBP USD The upside prevails Pivot invalidation 1.3035 Our preference long positions above 1.3035 with targets at 1.3095 AMP 1.3120 in extension. Alternative scenario below 1.3035 Look for further downside with 1.3020 AMP 1.3000 as targets. Comment the RSI lacks downward momentum. NBSP USD JPY under pressure Pivot invalidation 106.95 Our preference short positions below 106.95 with targets at 106.45 AMP 106.20 in extension. Alternative scenario above 106.95 Look for further upside with 107.15 AMP 107.30 as targets. Comment the RSI is bearish and calls for further decline. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD could attempt a move to 0.72 near-term AULB http ntvforex.com News ID E7E626 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano The Aussie dollar could edge higher to the 0.72 region versus the greenback in the next weeks, suggested FX strategists at ULB Group. Key quotes 24 Our view we highlighted yesterday that we continue to see chance for AUD to test the 0.7125 support and added, however, in view of the lackluster momentum, the next support at 0.7095 is not expected to come into the picture. AUD subsequently dipped to 0.7109 before staging a surprising robust rebound. The recovery has scope to move nearer to 0.7200. For today, the next resistance at 0.7225 is likely out of reach. Support is at 0.7155 followed by 0.7130. The low of 0.7109 is expected to be a safe for today. Next 3 weeks. There is not much to add to our update from Tuesday, August 11th, spot at 0.7150. As highlighted, AUD is deemed to have moved into a consolidation phase. For these couple of weeks, AUD is expected to trade between 0.7050 and 0.7250. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.mt5.expert.advisors.